Commissioner Lyons.
Here.
Vice Mayor Stanley.
Here.
Commissioner White. Here. Commissioner Orthwein. Here. Mayor Morgan.
Here.
Also present are the town manager, William Thrasher, the town attorney, John Randolph, the staff attorney, Edward Nazaro, the acting police chief, Edward Allen, and the town clerk, me.
Very good. We've had an opportunity to review the minutes from the November 10 meeting. Are there any corrections, changes, additions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White? Yes. Commissioner Orthwein?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. There are no changes to the agenda. Our next public meeting of the Gulfstream Commission will be January 13, 2017 at 9 a.m. Should anyone wish to attend. Public comment. Anyone wish to speak? Mr. O'Hara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Without ruining the surprise that's coming, I'd just like to say I think your choice for police chief is excellent. And I hope when that happens, maybe the public gets to comment too, because I'm sure a lot of people have some great things to say about the candidate. I was going to talk about the Social Security numbers online and the state attorney's investigation and the two record complaints that I lost, which are going to be appealed, and what's going to happen in 2017. But I'm going to reserve all that for January. Instead, we're going to just keep all the focus on our new police chief. Thank you.
In the holiday spirit, we appreciate that. Anyone else speak? Mr. O'Boyle.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Apologize for missing so many of the meetings. I've been traveling quite a bit. However, I did read the Coastal Star while I was on the road, and I didn't realize it, but and frankly I was shocked by it, that as it applies to these records requests, that it takes the town 9 hours per request. That's unreasonable. I don't know why it would take 9 hours, because most of the requests say no records exist. I shouldn't say most, significant amount. So if there's any way, I understand you have a new council, if there's any way that you can cut that back. I've spoken to some other towns, and as an example in the city of Atlantic City, it usually takes 24 hours to respond. But in any event, that's what it is. And by the way, the last time the Coastal Star posted, it was 3.5 hours. So why it extended 5.5 hours? Absolutely, but beyond me. Last night I came home since December 4th at 8 p.m. And I had nothing to do, so I watched Mr. Graziano's deposition. And in Mr. Graziano's deposition, he made a statement that I was extorting the town and making a great deal of money as a result of records requests. And I asked him where he would get such a preposterous, or where the source of the preposterous statement. He said the town, and that's on the road. He's a credible man. I then made a records request to Mr. Thrasher or Ms. Taylor, and I asked to provide me with copies of all of the payments which have been made to me in response to Mr. Graziano's statement. And the response was, there are none. So someone is fibbing, either Mr. Graziano or the town commission. And I will leave it up to the two of you to work out who's truthful and who is untruthful. Mr. Graziano in his deposition also said he'd like to see this matter settled. He would like to hear my side, or Mr. O'Hare's side, or whoever else is on the bad side. He'd like to hear the whole story. I'd like to say here, I think to continue this is just plain nonsensical. It's costing the town a fortune.
Time's up, Mr. Dubois.
Yeah, let me just say one thing.
Thank you very much.
There's 145,000 reasons, as you know, Mr. Mayor, perhaps you'd like to share that with the people.
Please conclude your comments, sir.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but there's 145,000 more reasons why the town should settle, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank
Paul.
you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Yes, Mr. Snable.
I represent Plaza Soleil, and something's come to our attention, thank you, Mr. Thrasher, about the Gunther Volvo dealership proposed reconstruction. And that backs up to properties in Plaza Soleil, I think 4 or 5 lots. And the east elevation of their proposal is a 30-foot tall parking garage with light standards on top of that for parking, I guess, of used vehicle or inventory or whatever. And I'd just like to ask the town commission, the board, if we can get some support from you. I think in the discussions of this development for Gunther Volvo, I think there should at least be a buffer between the high commercial use and the single family residential use, and whatever input you folks could offer would be greatly appreciated by the board at Plaza Soleil.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing it to our attention, Mr. Snable. Yes, sir. Mr. Graziano.
Good morning. Since my deposition has been a subject of conversation this morning, I'd just like to remark that my deposition was taken, I believe it was in the first week of June. Here we are in December. I have not yet been blessed with a copy of my deposition testimony or of the recording thereof so that I could make corrections or additions thereto. It would be nice, I believe under the law I'm entitled to that before my deposition starts getting quoted. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? If not, let's move on to reports. Town manager.
Mayor, I have no report.
Thank you. The ARPB meeting will be December 15th at 8:30 a.m. next Thursday for anyone who wishes to attend. Finance Director's report.
Mayor, we have provided you with a financial report for the month of November and also a water usage report for the month of November. Typically, this time of the year, 2 months into the process, there's very limited that can be said, but numbers are yet to be developed. But I would like to make comment in regards to the planning session that we had back in earlier mid-2015, where there were various goals that were spoken about. The two that were on the top of the list were the fund balance and in general fund and the retained earnings in the water fund. The goal for the water fund was 1.5 million, and the goal for the general fund was 2 million. As of to date, I would like to report that we have exceeded the goal for the general fund. We're still working on the water fund, but we also just recently transferred $450,000 of water funds into a interest-bearing account that already exists. The importance of that is, in my mind, that it's maybe time at your option and decision to begin your capital improvements program. That capital improvements program was an extensive list, but on the top of it had to do with the development of a permit department for the town of Gulfstream. In order to do that, there was need of a expansion to town hall. There's a lot of planning to do that, and if the commission still chooses to go in that direction, you are, in regards to those goals that were set, are financially positioned to do so. I would also remind you that the maintenance building needs some work, and you may be able to do both of those projects with what I think will be the fund balance reported to you for fiscal year ending 9/30/2016. The other important matter, which doesn't show up in this report, but it will begin to show up, is the 1 penny surtax that was approved. Information is that beginning in February or March, we will start receiving our monthly allocations, and those funds obviously have to be used for road construction. So in the off-season, you may have as much as $250,000 to invest in or appropriate to road improvements. And with those comments, I would try to answer any questions that you might have in regards to the financial report for November 2016.
That's excellent news, that we've been able to rebuild those reserves over the last year in lieu of the many expenses that we've had. Certainly a testament to your oversight as well, Mr. Thrasher. Any questions for the town manager?
With that comment, Mayor, may I just say that none of that would be possible without the support and guidance of the town commission. What is accomplished in that area is because you have recognized the need for reserves and have made appropriate steps to accomplish that goal. So without your doing so, it would not have happened. So in that regard, thank you very much, Commissioner, and well done.
Thank you. Police report, Acting Chief Allen.
I request the report be accepted as submitted. No additions or deletions.
Any questions of Acting Chief Allen? Accepted as submitted. Let's move on to commission action. We have been provided with our annual agreement from the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections for their contract. Ms. Taylor?
It's the usual contract showing the cost of each phase of the election. Naturally, the towns do not have the equipment or the funds to maintain that equipment. So the Supervisor of Elections for Palm Beach County provides us with everything, and then it's divided, the cost is divided amongst the various municipalities. The only changes were in the dates in this primarily. It has been reviewed by Mr. Randolph, and he gives it his blessing. And I would ask that we be authorized to execute it.
Any comments? It's similar to the one that was approved prior to the last election, I take. If no comments, I need a motion to approve the agreement for election services, Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections.
I'll move to approve the agreement for election services from Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections.
Second.
Ms. Jill?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. We have a position open for police chief. Mr. Thrasher.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel particularly safe this morning. The last week of November, I had a conversation with Barbara Ward, Chief Ward's wife. In that conversation, it was told me, and it was agreed to, that Chief Ward will not be able to return back to his position, and that he should be placed in or on retirement status. That change in status was occurred December 1, and it is my pleasure, knowing that as of December 1, a police chief change would take place. I am honored to be able to recommend to this commission the appointment of Eddie Allen.
I would just like to say know some conflicting emotion. Many of us knew Chief Ward well, a good man, long-standing chief, and a man that many of us considered a friend. We wish his family the best, and our prayers and hopes go out to him. With respect to the opening for Gulfstream Police Chief, I can wholeheartedly support the appointment of Edward Allen. Since he has been acting chief, I've had an opportunity to observe him more closely. He is a man with excellent managerial skills. He oversees things very well. He communicates very well. He is loyal to his staff, to the men who serve under him, and he is decidedly loyal to the residents of the town of Gulfstream. And so you have my vote, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Comments from the public?
Good choice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is a tragedy to what happened to Chief Ward. I wish he was still here. But Lieutenant Allen is great for this. And if I could just bend your ear for a second, I want to just tell you a little story which I think will reinforce why he's such a great guy for the job. When I first moved to Gulfstream, house on Middle Road, I found my 6-year-old son had shoplifted a little plastic trinket from a store. So I thought, how am I going to teach him a lesson? So I'm sure Lieutenant Allen doesn't remember this, but because I asked him, he came to my home, August, answered the door. He's standing there with the light behind him, dark and big, and he said, "Did you commit a crime?" or something to that effect. And my son handed him the trinket, which he was going to return, and he's been on the straight and narrow ever since. So thank you, Lieutenant Allen. And again, great choice.
With that, is there a motion to appoint Edward Allen as the chief of the police department of the town of Gulfstream?
I'd love to make that motion to appoint Lieutenant Ed Allen to our new police chief.
Second.
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner Lyons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes, absolutely.
I would just like to say, if I could, I would appreciate you giving me this opportunity as the commission to serve for you. And I deeply respect all the people who responded here today on my behalf to support me as well. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out, the employees as well as family and friends. Thank you very much.
Would you raise your right hand and repeat after me, please? I, Edward K. Allen,
I, Edward K. Allen,
a citizen of the state of Florida and of the United States of America,
a citizen of the state of Florida and the United States of America,
and being employed by the town of Gulfstream, Florida,
and being employed by the town of Gulfstream, Florida,
and a recipient of public funds as such employee,
and a recipient of public funds as such an employee,
I do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
I do hereby solemnly
no problem, solemnly
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Florida.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Florida.
I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution of the government of the United States
and of the state of Florida
and of the state of Florida
against all enemies, domestic or foreign,
against all enemies, domestic or foreign,
and that I will bear true
Edward
faith,
K. Allen,
loyalty,
effective today,
will bear
December
true
9th,
loyalty
and
shown
allegiance to the
penny at
same,
701 at 0920.
and that I am entitled to hold office under the Constitution of the United States
and I am entitled to hold office under the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Florida,
and the Constitution of the State of Florida,
and that I will faithfully perform all the duties
and I will faithfully perform all the duties
of the office of Chief of Police of the town of Gulfstream, Florida,
of the office of Chief of Police of the town of Gulfstream, Florida,
on which I am about to enter, so help me God.
on which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
Welcome.
We move on to items by mayor and commissioners. Any comments by the commission? I would like to discuss briefly the search for the new town manager. I've been giving this a fair amount of thought. I've talked to Rita and Bill, and my inclination is that we should begin advertising in January after the holidays in the association journals. There's associations for town managers, for municipal officers, League of Cities. And then as applications and resumes come in, they would be reviewed jointly by Rita, Bill, and myself to screen them. And then when we get an appropriate number of qualified candidates, to bring them to the commission for interviewing. Probably would be a special meeting to interview and select a town manager. In that regard, again, my inclination is to look for a town manager with financial and governmental accounting background. I think that's a strength that we will need. And we need someone who is also obviously very skilled in overseeing personnel, but is decisive and it's got the ability to make difficult decisions when necessary. Comments?
Oh, so we would try to hire someone, I would think we need someone a couple months to give them some overlapping time, because we have some interesting things that go on in town right now, that they'll have to get up to date on.
Yeah, I would think we would bring somebody in, and for a period of time they would overlap so
Yeah.
that Bill could assist them. There's a lot to be brought up to speed on.
Training.
So, yeah, I don't expect it's going to take that long. I would think the position is desirable. I would anticipate a fair number of applications coming in, but who knows? But I don't think we should wait until after the holidays. It doesn't make sense to do it right now.
Mayor, didn't you state that there would be overlap and that Mr. Thrasher would be a consultant to the town for a transition period? Or?
Yeah, there's also that as well, depending on when the new manager would take office, how much on-the-job training he or she's going to require. Yes, I think given the complexity of the job, maintaining that consulting position for Mr. Thrasher is a good idea to assist the town, to assist the new manager, particularly on the financial end. Because for all we know, we may be impressed by someone who doesn't have a strong finance background but has all the other qualities and skills that we're looking for. So I think we need to leave all our options open. If you're in agreement, that's how I think we should proceed.
I agree.
It's been 20 years since we've done it.
There's little time now before Christmas, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Questions? If not, this meeting is adjourned.